Welcome back to SL Tonight. My name is Felix Lebesky, and let's settle in. Tonight we got a short Golden Age Western from the old heroes all comic. This one's called Salt River Johnny. A young man named Johnny Blair is hauling his sick father west, looking for a fresh start in the new Phoenix settlement on the Salt River. What they find waiting for them is a crooked mine boss, a missing gold shipment, and a whole lot of trouble that doesn't look quite like Apache trouble. Dig in. The great red arc of sun tipped the mountains and deluged the canyon and valley with a blinding light as Johnny Blair pulled in the mules and brought the Conestoga wagon to a halt. Johnny climbed down from the seat, dropped stiff-legged to the sand, shaded his eyes against the mellow sun in an effort to peer beyond the rim of the canyon. Wickenburg can't be very far away, he said aloud. The sound of his voice was strange to him. It had a creaky and unnatural sound to it, as though the desert sands had scorched and beaten his throat just as it had turned his skin to a dark leather. A voice came from within the wagon. "Everything all right, Johnny?" The voice was tired and spiritless, and Johnny's heart ached at the sound. His voice became suddenly cheerful. "Yes, Dad, just giving the mules a bit of rest and trying to get my bearings. Take it easy, don't get up." "Guess maybe I couldn't if I wanted to," Father rejoined. "I don't know when I've been so tired. Guess I was a fool to leave Vermont." Johnny pulled open a flap of the canvas, letting light into the interior of the wagon. Daniel Blair's eyes flickered wearily, closed. "Guess it's just a washout again, Johnny. Nothing ever seems to work out for us, does it?" "We haven't really given it a try yet," Johnny said, trying to make his voice sound cheerful. He did not like what he saw when he looked at his father. His face was as thin and weary as his voice. There was a gauntness about him that spoke of waning strength. He said, "Anyhow, the cough has vanished, Dad. That's a lot, and as soon as we settle down on the Salt River." "Something tells me I'll never see Phoenix," said Daniel Blair. His voice sounded dismal, somehow remote. "I never figured on the Apaches, Johnny. Never figured on them. I only hope." Johnny didn't answer at once. His sharp eyes, trying to cut through the blinding light, had found what they were looking for. He took a second look before saying anything. Then his voice rose in excitement. "Dad, I can see it. We're there. I can see the town. I can see Wickenburg." His father did not answer. Looking in upon him, Johnny saw that he had fallen into a restless slumber. "Guess maybe I'd better get going," he said aloud. "Make it an hour or I miss my guess." It was considerably longer than that before the wagon pulled into the outskirts of the little Arizona village. The sun had vanished now, and the desert coolness was in the air. Johnny shivered slightly, reaching for the jacket. He found a vacant spot, unharnessed by the mules, watered them. He looked thoughtfully at the forage supply as he dug some out for the animals. After he had tethered the mules, he soaked a glance into the wagon, saw that his father was still sleeping. Weariness was strong in him now, too. Every muscle seemed to ache. For a moment he was tempted to crawl into the wagon, but the vagrant lights flickering before him from the village were a temptation he couldn't resist. There was nothing new about the village, Johnny knew. A tattered group of adobe huts, a village of perhaps 200 population at the most. But a village meant people, food, voices. Johnny was hungry for all of these. In the last week he had talked to no one, had seen no one except a straggling microscopic Indian, who stopped only long enough to beg food and water. Johnny brushed some of the desert dust from his hat and boots, started walking up the one street. As he did so, he saw the spotted pony and its rider. The horse was black with white polka dots, and the horse and rider swept by Johnny like a whirlwind, kicking the dust and sand into his face, blinding him for a moment. There was only a glimpse of white flashing teeth and a dark, arrogant face. Then Johnny could see the rider slipping from the silver concho saddle and vanishing within some door. when he saw the stamp mill at the end of the street and the cluster of men around it. He recalled suddenly that Wickenburg was a mining town and nothing else. Gold ore was hauled in by freight wagons from the Vulture mine some 15 miles away. He mingled with the group. There was solid satisfaction in this, a satisfaction which needed no spoken word. It was enough to know that the desert for the time being was behind him, that no longer was he alone. Voices came to him from the shadows. $80 in gold to a ton of ore ain't bad. Reckon Lasher and his California friends won't starve, said another. Any more of them consarned Apache raids and they won't be much more hauled from the Vulture, I reckon. Johnny moved along. The sound of voices had somehow brought relaxation to him. Some of the weariness dropped from his shoulders. He stood by the spotted pony and admired it. A voice close to him said, "Pretty handsome horse flesh, son." Johnny turned. A grizzled face smiled in the shadows. "Name's Martin. Lloyd Martin. Hauling this cussed rock from the Vulture for why I don't know. Gonna quit it one of these days. Yes, sirree, gonna quit it. Them Apaches scared the pants off me. When Chief Cochise starts getting hungry for gold shipments, that's when old man Martin moves on." Johnny said, "The name is Johnny Blair." Last full-size stop was Tucson. "My dad is with me now the street a bit. He's pretty ill." Martin took a bite from a plug of tobacco, looked keenly at Blair. "Young, ain't he? Pretty husky, though. Must be 6 feet and 170 pounds, eh?" "About that." "You'll need it in this country," said the other. "Now, as I was saying about that piece of horse flesh, Apache pony or I miss my guess. Belongs to Cy Lasher, agent for the Vulture mine. How come he got it, I don't know. A lot of funny things." Johnny waited for him to finish the sentence, but the words halted abruptly. Puzzled, he returned and was amazed to see the grizzled old-timer walking away. Another voice spoke. There was an undercurrent of ugliness to it that Johnny didn't like. The voice said, "Want an interest in the horse?" Johnny looked at the man in the doorway. He was tall, taller than Johnny. His suit was black, expensive looking. There was a braided band of buckskin around the crown of his carefully creased hat. Brass spurs jingled musically when he moved. Johnny looked at the flashing teeth, the wicked smile, and knew that he had seen it once before this evening, and that man was Lasher. Lasher strode arrogantly from the door until he came close to Johnny. Black eyes glittered meaningly. There was an arrogance and impatience in the black eyes. Something else, too. Something which Johnny couldn't fathom. For just a flickering moment that came and went, it seemed to him that the man looked ill at ease. Johnny nodded at the spotted pony and said easily, "Just admiring the horse." Black eyes raked him up and down. Lasher said insolently, "Look at something else for a while, kid." He might have said more, but for the young girl who came out the store just then, Lasher ignored Johnny, turned and called out, "Hey you, Miss Carl." Johnny heard a distant gasp. It came from the girl as she stopped suddenly, turned. When she faced Lasher, Johnny saw that she was very pretty. He saw, too, in the rigidity of her shoulders, the quivering of her tense body, that she was frightened. He looked at Lasher in doubt. "I don't know you," he said. Lasher said something under his breath as the girl turned again and started walking across the street. He moved swiftly, caught at her arm, whirled her around. "You needn't be so high and mighty," he said suavely. Johnny knew that he should turn and walk away. He knew also that he couldn't do that. Before he had time to think, he had moved into the street, was looking into Lasher's black, smoldering eyes. "I wouldn't do that," Johnny Blair said quietly. The story was originally serialized inside this Heroes All Comics. So the story to now, Johnny Blair on his way to the New Phoenix settlement had a fight with Cy Lasher of the Vulture mine over girl Adrian Carroll. The Carrolls and Boyd Martin, a grizzled ore hauler, joined up with Johnny and his father on the last lap to Phoenix. On the way, they found a wagon burned and 2 dead men, the work of Apache Indians apparently, but Johnny had other ideas. He didn't believe that Apaches would go to the extra work that the raid indicated. "What's more," said Johnny, "what does an Apache want with gold? When they steal, it's something to eat or wear. two wagons pulled into the Phoenix village the next afternoon. Already the place was taking shape, and as Johnny urged the mules along, he could hear the sound of axes and hammers. "Gonna be a good-sized place," Martin said. "Last time I was here wasn't much more than a couple of old shacks." "Yes, sir, looks like Phoenix is gonna be quite a town." "May as well pull up by the freighting station, Johnny. May as well see Curly about a job." As they got down from the wagons and stretched, Johnny looked at Adrian and said, "The rest of you may as well look over Phoenix if you want to get rid of the king." "Won't take too long," he observed. Some of the horror had vanished from her eyes, and Johnny said approvingly, "You'll make out all right. Something like that isn't pleasant, but I'm afraid we're going to see more of it unless settlers like that do something about it." Curly Ames was short and round. He jerked his cigar around in his mouth as he talked to Martin. "Sure, I can find a place for you, but maybe you won't be so anxious to take over. You old boys got their night before last. Gold shipment. These travels fast," said Martin. "Thought maybe we'd be first with it, Curly. Kid here helped me hurry them. Reckon maybe the other fellow was up too much of a hurry." "Lasher," said Ames gloomily, "pulled in here yesterday. Guess he would have buried them, only there were some Apaches right on his neck." Martin looked thoughtfully at Johnny. "Lasher, eh? Doesn't sound too good, kid. Looks like we're in for more trouble." He turned to the other. "Reckon you've hired yourself a man, Curly. Maybe a couple if Johnny wants to come along." "But he's just a kid," Ames said in protest. "That's what Lasher thought too," said Martin, "until Johnny up and proved that he was a full-grown wildcat." Ames stared at Johnny, looked him up and down. "You mean you tangled with Lasher?" His tone was incredulous. He looked grave when Martin told him. "A lot of spunk, all right, but somehow I just don't like it too well. Lasher, just don't forget he'll be on the prowl. Maybe we better forget about this freighting, Boyd. Lasher seems to be right strong around this country." Martin said softly, "Not his gold you're hauling, is it, Curly?" Ames rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Said, "Reckon you're right. Guess I can hire the men I want. It's a deal if you want it, Martin. Kid too, but keep out of Lasher's way. That man is poison, and I'll miss my guess." When they came out of the low frame building, Johnny's father hailed him. He looked excited, and words tumbled from him. He grabbed Johnny's arm, pointed beyond the settlement into the hills. "Water's here, Johnny. Won't be long for this valley to be blooming with crops. Carol and I are riding out to stake some claims." "Good idea," Martin said. "But take a tip from me. Don't wander too far from the settlement. The farm won't be too much good without protection. You'll just be working for the Injun." "Place to eat here?" asked Johnny. "I'm getting plenty starved." "Down the street a piece," said Daniel Blair. "Woman there by the name of Phoebe Jones turns out good food." "So I hear." "Let's say we try it out. I could use something besides salt pork and eggs and beans myself." The restaurant was a small adobe hut with a pair of tables built from rough lumber and a rough pine counter. But the woman behind the counter looked friendly, and glancing about him, Johnny noticed that the place was scrumptiously clean. "Beef and pork, potatoes, gravy," the woman said calmly. "Not much choice, but not much of a town either." "Bring 'em on," said Martin. "I ain't seen nothing but the outside of a cow for long. I wouldn't recognize a meal." The woman seemed about to answer, but just then the door opened and she closed her lips tightly. Johnny turned his head slightly. Lasher was standing in the doorway. The arrogance was still there as he leaned back against the wall to survey the room. His eyes flickered against Johnny, moved on, but not before Johnny had seen the veiled anger. "Some food, Phoebe," he said indolently. The woman squared her shoulders, placed her hands on her hips, stared at Lasher. "Reckon you can, but get this. I won't have any more brawling around here like what happened last night. I'm trying to run a clean up, respectable restaurant, and anyone who wants to fight can get out on the street and do it." "So," said Lasher, and then there was amusement in his voice, "Sorry I disturbed you, Phoebe. About the food?" Without replying, she subbed a plate of food on the counter, turned and stalked into the kitchen. She left a room that was quiet, but tense with excitement. It was when Lasher strolled over to a place beside Martin at the counter that Johnny saw the feather on the floor. He stared at it, thought fully, wondered a bit. He'd seen those kinds of feathers before, in an Apache war barn. Somehow it looked at a place in Phoebe Jones's restaurant. Lasher ate in moody silence, then vanished through the door without stopping to look or to comment to anyone. Pleasant sort, Martin murmured. Better keep your eyes peeled, Johnny. There's something about that man that reminds me of a rattler. Only he's the kind of rattler that won't give a warning, I'll bet. I'll be careful, Johnny said. When they moved out into the street, Lasher was mounting the polka dot pony. He sat there motionless for a time, looking at the group, studying the girl until she turned away in dismay. So Carol looked at his daughter, caught the glance of apprehension, looked up at the motionless figure in the saddle, and said softly, "Careful, Lasher. I'm not looking for trouble, and I'm not one to run from it either." Lasher didn't say anything. He wheeled the pony about, moved down the street. As Johnny watched him, Phoebe Jones came out of the doorway and said, "I'd look out for that man if I were you. He ain't up to no good." "What gives you that idea?" Martin asked curiously. "Not that we don't agree with you, man." Her lips compressed tightly. Then she said slowly, "He was in here last night and steamed up plenty. Talk about what he was going to do to some kid when he caught up with him." Martin said, "This is the kid." He pointed at Johnny. The woman said, "Guess as much. Don't like the kind that talk a big fight and pass it up when people are looking. I'd look out for him in plenty." "Excuse me," said Johnny. He walked back into the restaurant, picked up the red feather, put it away in his pocket. When he came out again, he looked at Martin and said, "Let's move along and see Ames again. I got an idea." Johnny was very quiet as they moved down the street. The picture of Lasher was strong with him, and he knew that sooner or later he would have to move and move fast. For Lasher hadn't forgotten, would never forget. When Ames figured on sending out another gold shipment, he asked. Martin said, "Any day now, I reckon." "Why?" "Let's make it soon," said Johnny. The story so far: Johnny Blair, on his way to the new Phoenix settlement, had a fight with Cy Lasher on the Vulture Mine over a girl, Adrian Carroll. Carroll's boy Martin joined up with Johnny and his father on the trip to Phoenix. On the way, they found 2 dead men, a destroyed freight wagon. In Phoenix, they met Curly Ames, freighter, who hired Johnny and Boyd in a restaurant. They saw Cy Lasher, who had been making threats. Johnny picked up a red feather on the floor of the restaurant, tucked it away. "When Ames is sending out another gold shipment?" he asked. Martin said, "Any day now." "Why?" Johnny said quietly, "Let's make it soon." There was no semblance of a hotel in Phoenix, so they made for their wagons. "Reckon we could use about 40 hours of sleep," Martin said with a yawn. When those wagons bounced, they seemed to locate all the sore spots and some you never thought of. The Carrolls lingered for a time by the campfire. Staring into the embers, Bill Carroll said abruptly, "You're very quiet, Johnny. From what I've seen of you, that meant your brain is working overtime." Johnny smiled into the shadows. "Not very good at covering up, am I?" The girl said softly, "Don't get into trouble, Johnny. I don't like the look of things." "Gives me the jitters too," Johnny said. "I know what you mean, and I'll be careful." "It's this way," said her father thoughtfully. "You're into this mess because of us, because of Adrian. And if anything happened, we'd never forgive ourselves." Johnny shook his head. "No," he said suddenly. "That's wrong thinking. If you don't mind my saying so, I'll admit that Lasher grabbing Adrian's arm sort of jumped me into things. But we would have tangled sooner or later. What gets me is why everyone is afraid of it." "I can explain that, I reckon," Boyd Martin interrupted suddenly. "There's been a lot of back alley killings. Nobody can prove that Lasher's tied up with them, but sometimes you don't have to have things proved to you. You just know." Johnny said reflexively, "Oh, well, it all adds up to nothing. Let's get some sleep." Sleep came slowly. Johnny tossed restlessly for hours and fell into a troubled slumber in which a scared face, a red feather, and eyes of 2 grinning dead men chased around in a circle of flame. His father was up and dressed, and the sun was dancing across Johnny's face when he awakened. "Pretty close to noon," said Daniel Blair. "Figured you could stand the sleep. The Carrolls aren't up yet. Your friend Martin went down for some breakfast. Said he'd meet you at Curly's place." "Fine hired man I turned out to be," Johnny groaned. "I'll have to run soon as I wash up, Dad. Curly may have something for us." Martin and Curly Ames were lolling against the counter of the freight office when Johnny came in. "Up and around again, I see," Martin chuckled. Johnny smiled, looked at Ames, and said, "When you send out our gold shipment, who knows about it?" Ames shrugged. "I never tell anybody except the men I hire, if that's what you mean. But the news seems to get out." "Listen," said Johnny. He lowered his voice. "How about loading up a wagon and starting Mr. Martin out? Fill the box with bricks. Anything but gold. Got an idea. If we can find out how the Apaches, if they are Apaches, are tipped off when the shipment is leaving, we'll have something to start on." "Can't see what we got to lose," Curly Ames drawled. Lasher was riding down the street as Johnny left the office. His black eyes hardened as they saw him. He pulled in the pony and said, "Getting a little tired of seeing your face around here, kid. Town isn't big enough for the two of us." Johnny's temper flared. Then he said slowly, "Looks like one of us will have to leave then." Lasher's lip tightened. "You're not so tough, kid. If I didn't have a job coming up, I'd settle this right now." He jerked on the reins, turned the pony around, and moved down the street. The Mexican boy, propped up against the wall of the building, was fast asleep. When Johnny touched him, he sat up with a start. "Si, senor." "What's your name?" "Manuel, senor. Manuel Carlos." Johnny checked him. "Manuel's enough." Pulled out a handful of silver and jingled it. "You have sharp eyes, Manuel?" "That of an eagle," the boy said proudly. The clink of silver fascinated him, brought him to his feet. Johnny handed him some silver. "Listen, and there'll be more." Manuel's eyes glistened. "You have but to speak." "Sometime today," Johnny said slowly, "there will be a wagon leaving from the station as Senor Ames. Horses will be driven by the tall one with the grizzled beard." "I have seen him," Manuel said proudly. "When this happens," Johnny continued, "look sharply, and if you see anyone saddle his horse and ride through as though the devil is after him, I want to know his name and where he goes." Manuel's face glowed with excitement. "Shall be done, senor. Friend Juan Mendez has a horse which I may use, and I'll follow this evil one to the end of the earth." Martin pulled away from the station early in the afternoon. Johnny, on a saddle horse had secured from Curly Ames, rode alongside. "Riding in style, aren't you, kid?" asked Martin. "I'm not riding far," said Johnny. "Neither are you, I hope, before we catch up with Mr. Apache." The desert was a golden flame as Johnny rode stubbornly on. When they were an hour out of Phoenix, he pulled up close to the wagon and said, "I'm leaving you now, but I'll catch up with you before you get into late trouble." "Don't go getting too deep into this mess," Martin said warningly. "I'll try," said Johnny, "but as you said, trouble just seems to come along. Maybe if things work out right, we'll have a good job instead of being moving targets." Johnny rode back into town, stopped, and dismounted by the freighting station. Curly Ames stepped out the door, looked anxiously at him, and said, "Things working out all right, kid?" "I don't know," said Johnny. "Something should break almost any time." The sun was low, and Johnny's heart was sinking with it when the pony clattered down the street and the Mexican boy jumped from the saddle, come running to it. "Nice work, Manuel," said Johnny. "I almost gave up." Manuel's small shoulders straightened. "Gee, senor, I have much news." Now, so far, Johnny Blair, on his way to the new Phoenix settlement, had a fight with Cy Lasher at the Vulture Mine over a girl, Adrian Carroll. The Carrolls and Boyd Martin joined up with Johnny and his father on the last lap to Phoenix and the Salt River Valley. On the way, they found a wagon train looted, 2 dead men. In Phoenix, Johnny met Lasher again, was warned against him, found a red feather on the floor of the restaurant, and fixed up a plan whereby Boyd Martin started out with a fake gold shipment. Manuel, a Mexican boy, was given an assignment to watch what happened when the supposed gold shipment left town. Johnny smiled at the Mexican boy. "I'd almost given up, Manuel. I have much news, senor, much news. There were many men, Americans, who do not deserve the name, senor. Mucho words, senor, but only one that I hear clearly." Manuel's eager eyes were shining. "I do as you say, senor. When the wagon leaves town, I, Manuel, sharpen my eyes. There's nothing happened, I think. Silver, he is lost to Manuel, and Manuel is sad." "Hurry," said Johnny. "You can tell me the rest later, Manuel. I'm in a rush." "Si, senor," the boy said reproachfully. "He's one of my own countrymen who rides, a rascal who's not respected by my parents. One by the name of Jamie Cordova. May the devils pursue him. Yes, said Johnny impatiently. You followed? On wings, said the boy. She's a good one, this mare. There is a rancho, and in the windows Manuel looks. There are many men, Americanos, who do not deserve the name, senor. Does anyone talk? Mucho word, senor, but only one that I hear clearly. It is tonight. Johnny said excitedly, if my guess is right, Manuel, this will be a night that Phoenix will never forget. In the freighting office, with the door closed and Manuel looking at Curly Ames, half in fright, half in wonder, Johnny said, things are getting very hot, sir. Are you still of the same mind? I'm willing to listen, said Ames. Shoot, kid. There's only one decent trail to Tucson, Johnny said. You know it and I know it, and I think I know the spot where the Apaches will try to take over. I can't promise anything, but if it's going to happen, it'll happen tonight. Ames stared at Johnny thoughtfully. Then he drawled, Got a hunch that the boys around here have been wanting to take a crack at these murderous Apaches. I think I'll string along with you, Johnny. He walked over, opened an inside door. 6 men came into the room, leaned against the counter, looked at Curly Ames, then at John. Ames said, That's about all I could dig up for the party. Think we can do it? Yes, said Johnny. We have to do it. It's a deal, Ames said. Come on, boys, let's get started. The sun vanished and the coolness of the night came upon the desert. Across the mountain crag, the moon washed the desert sand with a silver wand. Joshua trees and giant saguaros stood like grim sentinels along the desert trail. Men rode in single file, and there was a grimness, a silence about them that made Johnny proud even when it frightened. Curly Ames pulled up next to Johnny and wept. Hope you're right, we don't have too far to ride, Johnny. Me, I'm old and round and fat and out of wind, and the hurricane deck of a bronc just ain't cut out for me. As they suspect, the ride is for nothing, Johnny said. But I don't think that they do, and they won't be in a hurry. Murder doesn't have to ride fast when there's no danger. One of the riders said, The kid's got a way of saying things that stick, Curly. When we started out, I thought this would be just a joyride, but I'm beginning to change my mind. Curly pulled up his horse and said, The shortcut starts here, boys, so let's stick together. They rode for another half hour, pressing the pace now, and once more Curly Ames slowed down, brought the others to a halt. He pointed to a twisting trail below. In the bright moonlight, the traces of wagon wheels could still be seen in the shifting sands. Johnny pointed to a wall of rock just below them. The Apaches will get above them and swoop down when their wagons come around the curve. It's a perfect place. One of the men laughed, and we'll be right above the Apaches. Nice figuring, kid. Okay, said Curly Ames. Stake out the horses behind the rocks so they can't be seen, and then we'll sit and wait. The wait did not last long. Once the men were settled in position with their rifles leveled over a natural barricade of rock, shadows came moving across the desert, and soon there was the sound of muffled voices. Horses running in heavy sand. When they came into the open below them, the painted faces and feathers were readily seen. Apaches, said one of the Curly's men. He picked up his rifle and sighted. An arm came up, jerked him back. Down, you fool, said Curly in a low voice. From where he lay, Johnny could watch the twisting trail. Suddenly he moved and touched Curly's arm. The wagon, he whispered. 75 yards. If we mess up on this deal, reckon we deserve butchering, Ames said grimly. Hold everything, boys, until I give the word. Suddenly the air was torn with wild, hideous war whoops as the riders swarmed down to the floor of the desert. Rifle fire shattered even the sound of the war whoops. Johnny leaned over and sighed when he saw that Boyd Martin was no longer in the driver's seat, that he had dropped back in the wagon box, had safety for a few minutes at least. He looked at Ames and nodded. Okay, boys, Curly said quietly. These shots have to count so don't get skittish. And don't all pick the same redskins. They ain't worth that much lead. The Apaches were closing in near the wagon when the rifle fire poured down from the ridge. Two piercing yells split the air, and 2 of the riders were out of their saddles. The leader wheeled his horse in sudden surprise, then clutched at his side and sat there swaying. Johnny kept firing with the others, not knowing if he were making any hits. And then he saw a glorious sight. The freight wagon came to a jerking halt, and outlined in the moonlight was Boyd Martin. He was standing behind the seat and poured a deadly fire into the panic-stricken raiders. "And after 'em, boys," Curly Ames yelled. "Jump, slide, or fall, let's get 'em, every one of 'em. We're doing this job for Alec and Bill and a few others." Two of the Apaches rode wildly into the night. When Curly scrambled to the desert floor and hurried to the wagon, there were 6 dead Apaches, 3 others laying inert, groaning. Martin scrambled down from the wagon and greeted. "Not bad shooting for amateurs," he said mildly. "Let's collect us a couple scalps for souvenirs." "None of that stuff," Man said sourly. "Save the scalping for dirty Apaches. We're trying to be civilized at least." "Maybe," said Johnny. "I know what he means." He leant down by one of the dead men, tugging at the war bonnet. Then he rubbed his hand across the face. "Ace Logan," said one of the men. "Know him anywhere, pain or no pain. You look startled." Martin rejoined the group. "Lash is back there." He looked at Johnny. "Looks like we've done a good night's work, kid." Ames took Johnny's hand, wrung it. 10 years' work, kid. Now maybe people can live on their farms, live in peace." "Salt River Valley," said Johnny. There was a catch in his voice. "It'll be plenty nice." "Yes, sir." The end. And that is the end of Salt River Johnny. Johnny and his father finally got their shot at a quieter life in the Salt River Valley, after standing up to the kind of man who doesn't like being stood up to. I do apologize, but as I said, they were serialized across those issues, and that was actually the last issue. So that was literally the end of the story, and so that was the end of the series. It didn't seem like there's any more. But if you like that story, like, comment, subscribe, let me know. That same kind of grit shows up in a different frontier. A new preacher arrives in rough country, and the land doesn't exactly roll out the welcome mat. Here is Crossroads episode, Dig or Die, Brother Hyde.
Crossroads. Each Crossroads story is based on the actual experiences of American clergymen, pastor, priest, or rabbi, the men who give inspiration and guidance to people at the crossroads of life. These dramatic stories are presented with the cooperation of our Board of Advisors, Captain Maurice M. Witherspoon, Father George B. Ford, and Dr. William F. Rosenblum. And now for our story.
"1886. A nation was moving westward, and into the Dakotas came the strongest and the most daring. The war drums of the Blackfeet and Sioux were quiet, but there was still the land. It was a land for men of courage, such as Reverend William Hyde.
You come west to fight Indians?
Nothing much worse than Indians.
Where's your fighting gear?
Here.
A Bible? You a preacher, man?
I plan to start a Methodist church in Groton. I'm William Hyde.
Bergulum. I've got a little ranch just outside of Groton. Let me pass a little hunch along to you. I truthfully can't see much of a future for a preacher out there.
Well, then I'll make my own future.
Maybe you will at that. This country is tough, Brother Hyde, and the people are just as tough, or they're dead.
You make it sound dangerous.
Just living out here is dangerous. You have to cut your shelter right out of the sod. And believe me, when those northers start blowing that ice and snow across the plains, then you dig or die, Brother Hyde.
Charmed, Reverend Hyde. We certainly need churches in Groton. Of course, I won't be able to attend services for a spell, my husband being away. With the farm and the children, I just haven't much time to give to my social obligations.
Then I'll bring the services to you, Mrs. Quiggs.
To the farm?
Yes.
Oh, no. Well, it's not fixed up very nicely yet.
I won't mind, and I'm sure God will understand.
Oh, by the way, how's Delcy? I brought something for her.
Well, the same, I guess. Quiet, always smiling at nothing. Strange child. She's not quite right, I guess.
I made it for her.
Dulcie doesn't need your charity, thank you.
I only meant...
If she wants a doll, I'll buy her one. A nice, fancy one. Good day, Reverend.
Well, can you tie that?
Not right. Why, Delsie's the sweetest kid in the Dakotas. All she needs is some love and...
Easy, Molly. I think it best we go home. You should have brought the Grays.
Oh, those wild devils. I wouldn't get in the same pasture with them.
Reverend, you ought to talk to Axel Johnson. Besides owning a lot of the town, he owns this store and does some doctoring, too. He can help you get located, if he will.
Then I'll see that he will. Thanks.
Don't know about his preaching, but there's nothing wrong with his nerve.
Reverend, huh? Well, I'm sorry you come.
I didn't come, Mr. Johnson.
Huh?
I was sent. Anyone can come, but I was commissioned here.
Oh, I see. Well, it's a pretty rough town yet. Busting out all over with growing pains. You figuring on building a church?
Well, I have no money for that. I'll have to rent a place temporarily.
Then you're out of business already, Reverend Hyde.
Why?
There isn't any place to rent. There isn't a store or a shack, not even an empty barn in the whole town. Growing pains.
I'll find some place.
You won't?
Then I'll preach in the street. I have work to do here, Mr. Johnson, and I'm going to do it, with or without your help.
Reverend, there's one place you might rent for Sundays, but you won't like it.
If I can hold services there, I'll like it.
Across the street, 2 doors down, ask for Dooley.
Thank you. I'm going to turn this saloon into a church.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
You can't turn a saloon into a church.
God can.
Not here.
Here.
No.
Yes.
No. Look, Reverend, my place is closed on Sunday, sure, but Axel knows that I wouldn't rent this place for no church. He was
Just testing, I know. Mr. Dooley, I need a church, and if you won't rent to me, well, I'll just have to preach outside. Right outside.
Oh, no.
And every day.
No, you wouldn't do... But I believe that you would. All right, Reverend, you win.
Bless you, Mr. Dooley.
But you know something? I've been on this frontier for 30 years. I'm still carrying lead from 10 gunfights and scars from at least a dozen more, and this is the first time that I was ever backed down and by a preacher. Now go on, get out of here. I got work to do.
Thank you, Mr. Dooley.
This man feel like drinking his own booze.
Well, did I pass the test?
Yes, but I'll wait to see how you meet the big ones, Reverend.
Big one?
Yeah, there's always one big test when a man is starting. You'll know it when it comes. And the way you meet it decides things. But so far, so good, and these people can use some religion.
Including you, Mr. Johnson.
What?
And I'll need someone to lead the singing.
Singing? Me? Oh, you won't see me making such a fool of myself. Oh, no. Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, early in the morning our song shall rise to thee. Holy, 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 merciful and mighty, God in three persons, blessed Trinity.
All right, you sinners, listen to me. I'm the devil's man, and I'm running this here meeting. Now let's sing a happy song.
Brother, put that gun down. This is God's house.
This is a saloon. And I got a hankering for some saloon singing. Hey, you, Johnson, you lead it off. Make it good and loud, because I want to hear some bellering.
No, we'll...
Shut up, preacher. I'll tell you what. Johnson will lead the singing. And you'll do a little dance for it. Start dancing.
Court. You best play somewhere else.
Stay out of this, Bert.
Can't. I came in here for some preaching. I don't cotton and mix it with dancing and shooting.
Don't press me, Bert. I'm warning.
Go ahead with your sermon, Reverend. I'll be back in time for the hellfire and brimstone. Could you open the door, please?
This is my first day as your minister. Our first day together with God, who deserves our complete attention. And I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. Paul said that when he was beaten and despised for his beliefs. As Christians here, can we all say the same? Are you afraid of the scoffers' ridicule? Or are you willing to stand up and fight? God needs help, your help. But you can't worship him in secret, my brothers and sisters. You must be willing to take the gospel with you into your work and into your homes. Do it proudly, so you can say, as Paul said, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ.
Well, when I think my back is broken.
Well, it'll only be once a week.
Once, say, maybe you better have a church where the furniture stays put.
Yeah, but there isn't any place.
Well, I'll find one. I have to in self-defense.
Thank you, Brother Johnson. I had faith that you could.
Maybe you better call me Axel. I figure I'll be seeing a lot of you.
Excuse me, please.
Oh, Molly, that husband of yours seems to be taking plenty of time to bring the rig around.
Oh, the Greys are probably giving him trouble.
Those Greys are always acting up, but they're too wild.
Oh, not for my birth. Why, he can handle...
Miss Ewell, you best come down to the stable. Bert's had an accident. That harness busted and them horses they just took
I better go and get my bag.
No rush, Axel. That buckboard flipped over on him and, well, he just ain't got no use for a doctor.
And so we question not thy holy wisdom, but commend Bert into thy heavenly care. We pray, dear Lord, that thou wilt give us the understanding to accept our loss, the courage to overcome our tragedy, and the faith to continue our lives in thy holy service. Amen.
Be brave, Molly.
Bert, now there was a man to ride the river with. Molly, he was... Reverend?
Molly, let me take you home.
No. You and your talk of God. Well, I hate God, do you hear?
Molly, you don't...
I hate him. He took my Bert. Did he care how much I needed him? How it tears the heart and soul out of me just to sit in that sod shack alone. God couldn't even wait till we'd had a baby.
Molly, God didn't take Bert.
Oh, didn't he? Who did then? The devil? Oh, no. Bert was too good a man for the devil, and you know it. Only God would want a man like Bert.
That's true, Molly. And Bert was as much value on earth as he is in heaven. Maybe even more.
Then why didn't he leave him here?
Molly, Bert loved wild horses, like his grays, and he handled them well. But he had a harness that was faulty. The horses reared and it broke. Do you hold that against God?
You hold it against Bert?
No, I don't. The harness was weak, and Bert didn't know it. It was an accident.
Other people have accidents and they don't die. Why, Bert?
Molly, death is a part of life. The Lord doesn't promise us protection from every hazard.
But he does try to help us over hazards like this, tragedies. And he can help you. Oh, try and understand.
I understand one thing. Bert's gone. There's nothing left of him. Nothing except memories that will curse me as long as I live. If God has any decency, that won't be long.
Molly, wait. At least take this Bible.
I don't want it. And I don't want to see you again. Ever.
Well, I don't have to ask.
No, Molly wouldn't even let me in the house. I tell you I'm licked, Axel.
When are you leaving?
Leaving? But it's only Molly that's got me beaten. I'm not...
Reverend, do you remember the story about the shepherd and the lost sheep?
Of course, but...
It wasn't taking care of those good sheep in the fold that made him a good shepherd. It was saving the one that strayed away.
Right to the mark, Axel. This is the big test, huh?
Isn't it?
Yes. And I won't fail. I'll find the answer somehow.
Make it soon. Molly's all locked up with hate and bitterness. She isn't seeing anyone, probably not eating very much and not caring. And when a person stops trying to live, they die. It's only a matter of a little time.
When the townspeople didn't come to him, Reverend Hyde went to them.
Go ahead, Mark. Fetch the other kids and tell them the Reverend's here to hold services. Hurry up now. Oh, that's just Delcy.
Hello, Delcy. I'm Reverend Hyde.
Well, speak to him, Delcy. Speak to him, I said.
Oh, it's all right, Miss Quiggs.
No, it's not all right. She's getting old enough to help, and all she does is just sit around with that silly doll. Now she hasn't even got the manners to say...
But this child is ill, Mrs. Quigg. She's burning up with fever.
Well, if she's sick, it's not my fault. What with Mr. Quiggs off looking for work and me having to look after the farm and take after 6 kids, I haven't got any time to...
This isn't a question of fault. This child is ill and she needs a doctor.
Doctor? Well, where would I get the money for a doctor?
I'll get one.
Don't go. Please stay with me.
Don't worry, Delcy. I'll be right back.
Well, what about your tea? And what about the services? The kids are getting hungry.
They can wait. You keep this room clear until I'm finished.
Well, you finish quick then. I haven't any time to go pampering Delcy.
Get out.
What? I'll have you know this is my house. 'Twas him asked you to come here, not me.
Out!
I love you. It's Delcy. She's pretty. You love Delcy?
Yes, Delcy. I love you.
No, you don't. You don't.
Fever's rising fast.
Can't we do anything?
Can you make her want to live? If she wants to live, she can lick this fever. If not, she may be gone by morning. You heard it. She's starved for love. Starved for her mother's love. That's what she's really dying of. Malnutrition of the heart.
Like Molly Eulum. They both need.
All right, I've had enough. You think because I'm a genteel lady, you can come in here and push me around. Well, you're wrong. Now I'm telling you, get out.
Mrs. Quiggs.
You too, being a preacher doesn't worry me. And this greener isn't one bit religious.
Mrs. Quiggs, put her down. We'll go. I'll take Delcy with us.
Delcy stays right here.
But the girl is sick. She needs her.
Ah, it's nothing but a bellyache or something. No more talk. This greener's got 18 buckshot in each barrel, and I'm pulling triggers in 5 seconds.
Come on, Reverend.
And don't you come back either. I'm choosy about my gentlemen callers.
Women and shotguns scare me anytime, but this woman has a spring loose somewhere.
We can't leave Delcy there.
Mrs. Quiggs has a gun and 36 buckshot. They say we have to.
But she'll die.
I know it, but I don't know what to do.
Axel, what if we could give Delcy a mother's love? You said it might help to break her fever.
You can't fool a child. Delcy would know it was a fake.
It wouldn't be a fake with Molly Eulum. She needs Delcy and Delcy needs her. It has to be God's answer.
And Mrs. Quiggs' answer would be no.
So I won't ask her.
Reverend, if you're thinking what I think you're thinking, I think you're crazy. But I'm with you, 100%.
Good. She's alone for a moment. Do you think you can distract her, get her into the back room for a minute?
Well, I can try.
Try hard. In that minute, I'll try to sneak Delcy out and take her away.
Well, you take that greener shotgun with you, too. She's liable to get a little mad when she finds Delcy gone. And I'm too old and stiff to outrun buckshot. Mrs. Quiggs, I just came back to apologize.
Apologize? Well, I should think you would.
I know you're angry, but I beg you to forgive me like the generous lady you are.
Well?
It was that Reverend Hyde. I never should have listened to him, Mrs. Quiggs. Mrs. Quiggs, your eyes. How do you feel?
I feel fine.
Oh, no, it couldn't be.
Oh, what couldn't be? What's wrong?
Dilation of the pupils, the first symptoms of... No, I shouldn't frighten you like this. I might be wrong, but I want a closer examination. Mrs. Quiggs, you must go in and rest. You must go in and lie down.
Lie
Please.
down?
I'm giving you good advice, Mrs. Quiggs.
Oh, but I can't.
I'm giving you an examination free.
Take her back. She's not mine.
But Molly, Delcy'll die without your care and your love.
Love. I used to love. But that was when I had a heart, Reverend. God took that when he took Bert. Now all I've got left is a big empty spot full of nothing. So get her out of here. Take her back where she belongs.
She belongs here with you, Molly. You're the only one that can make her want to live. All right, I'll take her back. Only let her rest for a moment. I'll wait outside. I know you'd prefer that. There.
No! Take her now.
She needs a few minutes rest, Molly. If you want her out now, you'll have to put her out.
You think I won't? She's not my child. I don't know her a thing.
I love Delcy. Do you love Delcy?
Well, she at least hasn't put Delcy out yet. How did Mrs. Quiggs take it?
She fussed a little about having us put in jail, but frankly, I think she's happy to be rid of the whole responsibility.
Well, don't blame her too much, Axel. She's carrying a heavy burden.
Yes, I know. If her husband doesn't come back, and he won't, I think she'll be glad to let Molly adopt Delcy for good.
Isn't there anything else you can do?
No, not until this fever crisis is over. If Molly can keep her alive through this, everything will be all right. Well, we'll know in a couple of hours. Until then, all we can do is wait.
No. There's one other thing we can do. nearly dawn.
It's past time, Reverend. I'm afraid.
She's sleeping. Reverend Hyde. I was horrible. I cursed him and denied him. Oh, Reverend, I turned my back on him.
Peter denied Jesus, but when he repented, God forgave him. But I think you've earned more than just forgiveness tonight, Molly. God has a special place in his heart for those who take care of his children.
It's been a great test, Molly, and you met it fine. Well, Reverend, come on, let's go. It's been a long night. I'll see you tomorrow, Molly. The big test is over. You'll do all right here, Reverend.
Thanks, Axel. But it's not over. I have a lot of digging to do yet. I'm just starting.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be fun to watch, too. In fact, I may join up with you permanently. You're a good man to dig with, Reverend Hyde. You sure are.
This has been SL Tonight. I'm Felix Lubeski. This was Crossroads, Faith in Action. Thanks for joining us today. Like and subscribe for more classic stories every Sunday.